You have seen like every episode of the show, right?
This is a show that I started to watch just before shutdown. It was probably late 2019. I got into it a little bit here and there, a few episodes,
Yeah.
and this became a big 2020 and 2021 show for me. I watched every episode from the first 9 seasons 2 or 3 times at least.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Why?
because it's good. It's funny. The jokes build themselves.
Oh,
So you obviously have not been under the spell of Letterkenny yet.
no.
You watched season 10, right?
I watched the first episode of the series
Which
like
is much slower.
a couple months ago because you told me you're like, dude, you gotta check this out. And then I watched season 10 over the weekend, starting Thursday, maybe Friday. I don't know.
Yep.
And I kind of hated it. I was like, what the fuck is this, man? Yeah, like, dude, in my notes I wrote like, I feel like this whole show is comedic masturbation, and I want to say who was this show for? A very specific Canadian audience, but you like it. And I remember at least one other person that I know talking this show up, and then I wrote, but I don't get it. Like, I appreciate the writing and the execution of like their like Tommy gun speed dialogue, and how difficult that must be to do. It's like, but it also feels like they couldn't decide when they were writing shit like what they wanted to cut, so they cut nothing. And they just do every fucking joke they could think of, like just right after another.
So one of the things that the show does very much is they will beat a dead horse immediately to the point that it's a joke is murdered, and then it kind of becomes funny again because they take it just far enough past it.
So it's like the Baba Booey concept.
Very similar, yeah. So there's a lot of that going on, and then a lot of things which I wasn't sure how that would resonate with you. First of all, when the show early on in the show, there's like 9-ish characters that have speaking roles regularly. Now there's probably 30 characters, so it's kind of a bloated cast to jump into.
Yep.
Without knowing everybody's motivations or histories, things like that. But I was curious how that would land with you.
Yeah, because this is basically like this is a review essentially from like someone who's seen all 10 seasons, and then me who jumped in on season 10. And you said you've seen every episode 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, why the fuck would you continue? Like I wouldn't if we weren't going to talk about this show, I don't think I would have made it past episode 2.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have wanted to. Maybe not even 1, to be honest. It didn't really hit with me. There was a few moments that were like kind of funny. Maybe like one moment in each episode. The prostate exam one hit with me a little bit, probably for like obvious reasons.
Yep.
That part I hated, man. The whistle shit, like I was just like, fucking stop whistling. But when the girls were telling them they were pussies for not wanting to do it, and then she started describing a pap smear, like that was kind of funny. But
a lot of the jokes get built up as well.
Yeah.
Over the course of like 10 seasons, where it's like they keep building on something, building on something, building on something, building on something. So then it's like a reference to like something that actually happened in season 3 that they've referenced 5 other times.
Yeah.
But it's like just like a throwaway line otherwise.
Yeah, like I could tell you most parts I think that made me laugh. In the first episode where the dude that the main character voices was making the jokes about like fucking their moms, like that got kind of funny.
Outdoorsy. Yeah. He's always chirping the other hockey players.
Like I said, the prostate exam, that episode was kind of funny. The one where they made the video about like it was like the cocaine Olympics kind of.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's funny when people call cocaine sneef. This show too has, I think, in my opinion, the worst cold opens I've ever seen.
Oh my god, some of them are fantastic. Some of them are a little shitty.
I feel like
episode to episode.
All of these, season 10, the cold opens, I was all like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
None of these cold opens were memorable. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Most seasons have like 2 or 3 episodes with an insane cold open that's like over the top and awesome.
At the end of my notes, I wrote, "Am I not gonna be allowed in Canada now? I don't like this show."
This show's great, whether or not you like it. I can see there's definitely a barrier of entry. Episode 1 of this show, I think, is not the place to start. This show, I think you probably start in season 2, really.
It has like an 8.7 on IMDb or something like that. And I'm looking at other shows I like, and I'm like, dude, what? It's less. So if you're a fan of the show, you're gonna like this one. But if it's not, I would say it's not a good jumping in point.